while digital payments have, grown by leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, card networks and, other payment, networks have not necessarily been, beneficiaries. It has always been, UPI. Also, there are a lot of changes, new developments, things that are making UPI much more easier and faster has come up. Credit on UPI could upstage several, fintechs in the BNPL space, and even card EMI products, could be affected because of these new developments. So, government has continued to subsidize, RuPay also, which has a sizable market share already in the, debit card system. So, how prepared are, fintechs and network companies to face such, challenges in 2023?
So, Anand, I must start by saying that it is extremely important that we kind of don't lose sight of the fact that cards and card networks have also grown very, very strongly over the last 4 or 5 years. Specifically, cards itself have grown at a 20-25% kind of CAGR over the last 4 or 5 years, despite COVID and lockdowns, etc. Now, again, also to start to put this in some context and getting into some specific numbers, today we have roughly 80 million credit cards in the country, and about 40 odd million are unique cards. And if you think about it, a country like China has over 900 million credit cards, and China's GDP is also 5-6 times that of India, but the difference in the base of credit cards is more than 10 to 12 times. We also have about 400 million people in the country on whom we have some kind of data, credit data, salary data, etc. And we reckon that there are about 220 million people who are potentially eligible for credit. Of that, if only 40 million today have a credit card, then the credit card market itself has headroom for 4 to 5x growth from where it is today. So, let me take contactless payments. I mean, countries like Australia, Singapore, UK have achieved over 90% of all payments there are contactless. Sweden as a society is a 90% cashless society. As I mentioned to you, in India, we still have 60% of all personal consumption expenditure, which is still in cash. So, as a country, there is no denying that we've done a phenomenal job in the last few years in terms of the growth of digital payments. But there is significant headroom for growth for all participants, all players in the ecosystem. It is not one versus the other. All of us have a common objective of cash displacement. So in some ways, we have a common enemy, which is displaced cash, right? And that's also speaks to national good. The more we displace cash, the better it is for the country, because printing cash, managing cash is expensive. But just as India has done such a successful, sort of pivot in terms of democratization of digital payments, we believe as Visa, we have a huge role to play in terms of how we can help the payments ecosystem and the banking and financial services ecosystem in democratization of credit, because that's, like I said, that's where a huge opportunity lies. So, what's happened in India is great. Real-time payments is absolutely, India is a success story in terms of the RTP rails that we have built, and that's across UPI, RTGS, NEFT, and IMPS. But this has not come at the cost of the growth of the card networks. It's come because of rapid displacement of cash, particularly small ticket cash transactions. And in terms of the more broader question, in terms of how card networks can in some ways collaborate with the RTP rails, that is absolutely something that we as Visa have done in other jurisdictions in the world, and we would look for the right opportunities with the right kind of construct to be able to do in India.